call of the Hawks can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
You're listening to Pod at the Palace with Curtis Wilkerson on Inside Arkansas.
And welcome into the Pod at the Palace post-game live reaction show presented by SARACEN, Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis here with you guys from San Pedro Social. And folks, if you're in San Jose looking to drown your sorrows, come hang out because that's why we're here. It's the therapy session, man. I wouldn't trade this job, this platform, what we do, or this journey that we've been on for anything. But this show, I absolutely hate doing. And until Arkansas goes all the way and wins a national championship, we're going to have to do it. A rough one, a special season, a fun season, one hell of a ride comes to an end tonight for the Arkansas Razorbacks as they fall to top-seeded Arizona 109-88. It happened again. Listen, it doesn't take anything away from the season. It doesn't take anything away from the accomplishments. 349 other teams were sitting on their couch watching this basketball game today, but I think it is going to leave a poor taste in some people's mouth because of the way that it went down there. I thought Arkansas was going to be ready for the challenge at a little bit of a higher level than they were, and Arizona took it to them from start to finish. There was no game pressure applied. There was no resistance on the defensive end of the floor. That is frustrating because it felt like this one was supposed to end differently. It felt like the A-Cuff year was supposed to end differently. But alas, here we are with a Razorback loss in emphatic fashion against Arizona. Andrew, how you feeling after that, buddy?
Well, not great. We were not here, but we were on the West Coast a year ago doing this same show following a Sweet 16 loss. And that one was a little bit different because there was the in-the-moment shock factor, the back-and-forth roller coaster, way that it played out. This game was a little bit easier to process because we had so much time to process it. You could tell after about 15 minutes of game action that Arkansas probably didn't have the answers. Thought they might show a little bit of fight down the stretch. They weren't able to do it. And outside of last year's Sweet 16 loss to Texas Tech, this has typically been the story for Arkansas's postseason runs that have ended in the Sweet 16 and Elite Eight here in the last few years. You finally run into that team who is unequivocally, undoubtedly better than you. Arizona was that tonight. Could this game have been closer if a few things played out a different way? Probably, but I think you also have to just accept that you ran into a team that was better than you. They lived up to the moment. They were ready. They took it to you. You didn't make life tough on them on the defensive end at all. And it's kind of the story of this season, if you ask me, because Arkansas's, anytime they ran into an elite team, we kind of saw them struggle to level up. Whether it was Florida, whether it was Houston. The Texas Tech game was a great example of that, but I don't know if that necessarily is on the same level of team. Even their first loss of the season, Michigan State, this loss in a weird way reminded me of that one because of the way that Arkansas failed to respond to adversity down the stretch. So a disappointing result tonight. A good season for Arkansas that I'm sure we're going to dissect throughout the course of this show. But right now, just a real tough feeling and tough pill to swallow that you just weren't good enough to make this one a competitive game and give Darius Acuff a chance to make something special happen down the stretch. Yeah, for sure. We'll break down the game a little bit, and then we're going to obviously spend most of our time in everybody's chats. So go ahead and get those in now. We appreciate everybody back home hanging out with us. I know it's late back home. But, listen, all credit to Arizona, man. Like, they were awesome. And we knew coming into this, like, they were the favorite for a reason. They were 34-2 for a reason. Arkansas was the underdog in this matchup. It was going to take a pretty specific set of circumstances for Arkansas to get this done. Wasn't out of the realm of possibility, but it wasn't going to happen if you didn't have special Darius Acuff. And he was good, but he wasn't special tonight. You were going to need to hit a lot more threes than Arkansas did. You're going to need to hold up on the backboards, which honestly wasn't that bad, all things considered. But it was, and this is not a frustrated, type of deal here. The truth of the matter is that was the worst defensive performance in the history of Razorback basketball in the NCAA tournament. The most points that a John Calipari team has given up in the NCAA tournament, the largest margin of defeat for a John Calipari team in the NCAA tournament. I looked up at one point deep into the second half, and Arizona was still shooting 70% from the field. If you can't get stops, you can't do what you do best, which is get out and transition and make this thing into a track meet. So Arkansas was stuck playing a half-court game against a team like Arizona. That's tough, man. And I know a lot of the conversation has been about Arkansas's front court. Are they physical enough? Are they tough enough? And honestly, I thought Malik Ewan and Nick Pringle were like the last of the issues for Arkansas in this game from that front. I didn't think the Razorback guards defended well at all. It was a paint touch any time an Arizona basketball player put on the floor.
And I thought Arkansas really, really struggled at the 4 spot until they started playing double bigs. If you can't guard and you can't string together stops, you certainly can't overcome a deficit. Defense has been an Achilles heel for Arkansas if they had one the entire season, and that's what puts them out here in the end, like a lot of people expected to happen.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to have a few. I'm sure a few chatters will point out the specific performance of Trevin Brazile in this game, and I'm sure we're going to get to that. But no, I think you're all over it, man. And going into this matchup, a lot of people focused on the fact that Arkansas was going to have issues in the interior of their defense. Newsflash, that's been happening all year, and that's kind of been the story of Arkansas' season. Is you can get your buckets on the inside, but we're going to get out and run. We're going to be efficient. We're going to have good shot selection. We're going to knock down some threes. Our backcourt is going to be able to, hold serve, and maybe our bigs can get you in foul trouble a little bit, or you're going to have Trevin Brazile spacing the floor for you. None of that really happened. Arizona scores 60 points in the paint. Arkansas scored 50. Arkansas, they ended up with 88 points in this game. They averaged 90 for the year. For the most part, Arkansas got the shots that they needed. You just needed it to not be egregious. There was no doubt. It wasn't like Arkansas was just going to all of a sudden randomly be an elite defensive squad. And believe it or not, based on what you saw tonight, Arkansas is not one of the worst defensive teams in college basketball. They're not good. They're a lot closer to being the one of the top teams defensively in college basketball than they are to being the worst. I know you won't believe that based on what you saw tonight. You just couldn't have Arizona shoot 64%.
My goodness.
I think it's kind of an obvious one. Arizona goes 5 for 8 from 3, and Arkansas goes 5 for 23. We knew Arkansas was it was a must-win, the 3-point shooting matchup, just based on kind of what these teams are made of and how they're built. You can't have the same number of makes as your opponent and shoot 15 more. And I think the 5 for 8 for Arizona is very telling. One, they had good shot selection, but two, they didn't have to shoot jump shots because they were getting anything they wanted. And again, a lot of people are going to focus on the front court aspect of this. I felt like Arkansas's guard play defensively was pretty unacceptable and was a huge part of why they just kind of got behind the 8 ball in this game and were never able to get back in control.
Yeah, the guards were unable to keep anybody in front. Arkansas really, really struggled with Karchenkov, the big wing of theirs. One of those games where you miss Carter Knox because of his physicality. But between Burries and Bradley and Karchenkov, those dudes just lived in the paint, and they were shooting just kind of uncontested 6-footers because they would use their chest or their shoulder. They would get into the chest of an Arkansas defender, create a little space, and it was just pop, little shot right there. The pick and roll defense was, it just got diced for Arkansas. And we knew that Arizona was very, very good from that standpoint, but Arkansas put together very, very little resistance there. And so here we are. Again, credit to Arizona for everything they were able to do in this game. You're right about the threes, man. I could even live with the 5 for 8 if Arkansas went 10 for 23 instead of 5 for 23, I think it was. The other thing was foul trouble for Arkansas. They got into it early, and it kind of reared its head throughout the course of the game. But you put them on the line, they shoot 64% from the field, and they get to the line 39 times. Yeah. It was unbelievable. It was an absolute clinic that Arizona put forth on that end of the floor. And then I felt like frustration really started to set in for Arkansas later in the game. We were right by the Razorback bench, so we could feel that. We could hear it. We could see it in real time. Hey, I understand. I was frustrated about some things, too, with the officiating. Obviously, we're not going to lament on that at all with the way that this game went down because it wouldn't have made that much of a difference anyway. But I hated seeing Billy get tossed there with the flagrant 2. I hated seeing Nick Pringle, who I thought played very, very well when he was clearly hurting, get pissed, slam the basketball. Coach Cal got the tech, which I thought was really weird. He was just talking to somebody at the scorer's table there. They said, hey, you can't talk to him, and gave him the technical foul right there. But it was kind of one thing after another, after another, after another. And what stinks about that is that the entire time this is happening, it's one thing to get chippy. It's one thing to be angry and play that way. But when you're just getting punked the way that they were, it kind of comes across as a bad look. And so I hated that because, again, this team accomplished a lot throughout the course of the season. We want more. Sweet 16 is not the standard here, but it's hard to be overly critical about a full year that ends when you're one of the last 16 teams standing. They won 28 basketball games. They finished tied for second in the SEC. They won the SEC tournament. They got to a second weekend again. There's so much to be grateful for, and I'm happy with this season, but I'm not satisfied with it, especially with the way that it ended here with this loss, because I know it's going to turn a lot of people's attention to the roster building, the construction, the portal, going and getting the grown men. And I think that's all very, very valid, but I just wish they would have put more game pressure on Arizona. Made one run at him there early in the second half, maybe a 6-0 or an 8-0 run just to get that thing back within just a little bit to where you put some pressure on them, and maybe they tighten up some, or maybe the feel of the game changed, the momentum in the building could change, but it was just never a thing, man. It was wire to wire. And so my frustration is not about the year. It's not about the loss even necessarily, but it's the way that it happened there that just kind of leaves you with an unfulfilled feeling, or at least it does me.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not like this Razorback team that we watched this year never responded to adversity and never had to battle through circumstances and didn't have toughness, didn't have guys have to step up in, less than ideal circumstances. We've seen this team bounce back. We've seen this team respond from losses, from bad stretches. We've seen them put together runs late in the game. We've seen them get to a moment where the game is on the line and really rise to the occasion. But I come back to it never really happened against a well-rounded team like a Houston, like even a Florida, like in Arizona. You never were able to really level up against someone that was really good and someone that stays in the fight against you for 40 minutes. Because I think you're 100% right. You got to put that game pressure on them. And Arizona, they outplayed Arkansas from minute 1 to minute 40 for the most part. Yeah. But anytime there was ever any shift in momentum, anytime you kind of felt like Arkansas was chipping their way back into the game, Arizona never left the fight. They would come right back at Arkansas. You go into halftime, and was it an 11-point halftime deficit? And, nobody was feeling great at that point, but you're kind of thinking, okay, if you can come out in this first 4 minutes and maybe win it by 3, then all of a sudden you're within 10. You're just a one little quick strike away from really making a run. Instead, Arizona gets it to 14 right away. In fact, I think they got it to 18 shortly after that. Like, anytime you're in a game, you're in a fight, you're always just a few good plays away from being in a much, much better position. And it felt like Arkansas was just never able to make those plays that ever, like you said, put the game pressure on Arizona. They were able to kind of get exactly what they needed to keep Arkansas at arm's length. And I think that was a big part of our pregame show, was like, hey, let's put pressure on these guys, see how they respond in a 40-minute fight. It was Arkansas who wasn't ready for a 40-minute fight. Their effort fluctuated. Their intensity fluctuated, and you're 100% right. And Arkansas's frustration really got the better of them, and that's the most disappointing part. It wasn't going to make the difference in the game. You realize after a while they were going to lose the game, but you don't need guys getting ejected. You don't need guys getting, Nick fouling outside a big deal, but just having these undisciplined, frustration fouls is really tough. The flagrant on Trevin, he can complain about it and say that's a soft call. He tried to get away with a dirty play.
He did.
That's exactly what happened. Same as Billy Richmond. Was it crazy? Should he probably have been ejected from the game? I don't think so, but he tried to get away with a dirty play. That's the kind of stuff you do when you can't beat your opponent on the court, and now you resort to some other little game, and I didn't like that aspect of it, and I really don't think it's representative of like what we saw from this team all year. No. I think that's just a team realizing their season's over, and they're pissed off about it, which they should be, but you got to handle yourself with a little bit more composure. I was really impressed with how Arizona never let Arkansas kind of get under their skin. They always answered back and just kind of hooped. You said it at one point, stop yapping and start hooping. Arizona was there to hoop. Arkansas was there to complain.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a very good way to put it there. And again, we were right beside them. We could hear every word that was said right there. So it wasn't just the actions themselves, but it was the things that were said, the way they were talking to the officials and everything. I was kind of taken aback by that, but I think you're right, man. It was a realization that sunk in there and a frustration that built up and built up and built up and then finally boiled over towards the end of the game. So the good news for Arkansas is that during the offseason, they can go to Fight House Gym and toughen up a little bit, because I know everybody's going to want to see that for next season. And maybe that's what needs to happen for Arkansas to take this thing to the next level, because they're close. They're knocking on the door, but there's still a ways to go. And we appreciate the Fight House Gym. It's the newest gym here in Northwest Arkansas. It's the #1 boxing, MMA, and strength training gym built for athletes, competitors, and anyone ready to push their limits. From high-energy boxing and MMA training to free weights, elite cardio equipment, sleds, and cross-training, Fight House Gym delivers everything you need to train at the highest level. Whether you're a seasoned fighter or just starting your fitness journey, this is the gym that meets you where you are and pushes you further. This isn't just a gym, it's a mindset. Fight House Gym is now open at 10131 Webbway in Fayetteville, exit 58 off I-49. You can sign up today at fighthousegym.com or call 951-623-9745 and step inside and bring the fight. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some of the guys here that I tell you what, we'll just make a little bit of a tour of the roster here, and then we'll get into the chat pretty quick. But that's it for Darius Acuff. We know that's a fact. He's going to go to the league. The greatest single season in Razorback history, broke all kinds of records, all kinds of accolades. He has really helped elevate the Arkansas brand, the recognition. He's worked wonders for recruiting for this program moving forward. That's kind of reflected in the class that they have coming in. tremendous. I feel very fortunate to have been able to cover this entire season. Again, I hate that they went out like this. I wish he would have just had an opportunity later in the game. Wasn't his best again, but how many times have we said it? Oh, Darius Acuff, man, didn't feel like he was great in this game. What do you have, 28 or 29 in the end there? He has been phenomenal, and I think Arkansas fans are going to be able to look forward to watching him do some good things in the league for a long, long time. But I want to make sure that we gave him his flowers on this show, even on a frustrating night. That dude has been incredible, and he set the standard for what Arkansas fans are going to expect from their 5-star John Calipari freshman moving forward. And that is not fair. That is not a fair bar to set for Jordan Smith Jr. or J.J. Andrews or Abdu Torre or anybody else who comes in here, because very, very few people are going to be able to do what Darius Acuff has done in a Razorback jersey or in any jersey moving forward. He was incredible.
Yeah, he was awesome, and all year long, I mean, the guy was tough as nails. He was ready for the moments. You could tell how much everything meant to him, and we can go on and on about his accomplishments, what he did as a basketball player. I could be wrong, Curtis, and someone can come out and correct the record if they need. He may have had his shoulder pop back into place mid-game today. And it was late in the game. At this point, you could tell Arkansas wasn't going to win. But he leaves the court with his arm hanging, and he was not able to move it at all. They kind of hit him on the bench, so we didn't really see what was happening there. I don't know if that was literally someone popping into place or maybe just something weird going on. I don't know. He came back out and could barely even move his arm. First possession, gets the ball, goes for a mid-range pull-up, hits it, gets fouled on the next possession. Dude never shied away. If he could walk, if he could talk, if he could breathe, he was going to play for the Arkansas Razorbacks unless this coaching staff just tied him up. And I think a lot of things are going to be his legacy, how great he was, the awards he won. But I think his toughness and his will to win is going to be one of those things that I'll never forget watching him this year.
Yeah, for sure. Trevin Brazile, he's done as well. Out of eligibility, maybe the last 4-year hog that we're going to have, but I absolutely hate that. Not that he went out like this, because again, remember, like, we're reacting to this game, the season as a whole. There's so much to be proud of. But man, Arkansas, if they were going to have any chance of beating Arizona in this basketball game, they were going to need a good one from Trevin. They were going to need him to hit threes. They were going to need him to be big on the glass. He was going to have to use that length and athleticism to overcome some of the power and strength that Toby Awaka showed him there early in the game. I hope that this performance in this game is not the lasting memory that people have of Trevin, because he was tremendous for Arkansas throughout the course of the season, blocking shots, getting steals. He made an impact defensively, had his best statistical season of the year. He's grown so much during his time at Arkansas. And I'll tell you guys this right now, because I know a lot of the conversation is going to be, man, Arkansas's got to upgrade in the front court. They got to go get some dudes. And yes, they do. And I hope that happens. And I'm sure that's going to be priority number one when we get to the portal here pretty soon. But Trevin Brazile is going to be a hell of a lot harder to replace than I think a lot of people think, because what that dude does is rare. That athleticism is rare. The ability to shoot the way that he does is rare. And having somebody with that much continuity in the program, who's been around so long, who has a lot of pride in wearing that Razorback uniform, he's going to be sorely, sorely missed. I've enjoyed covering Trevin Brazile, and I'm going to miss having him around.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Arkansas wouldn't be here without Trevin Brazile. And the 2 games that he had in the NCAA tournament is that, but also just in the regular season, he really leveled up down the stretch, and his level up individually happened right around the same time that Arkansas kind of leveled up as a team and started playing a little bit more consistently. The same thing happened last year. He's had a roller coaster of a career, and unfortunately it's going to end on a performance that certainly wasn't his best. And, it's weird, because if you would have told me that Trevin wasn't going to be great in this matchup, I would have thought that he had just gotten back down and posted up 1,000 times. And he did get slammed through the rim that one time, but I thought his decision-making defensively, you mentioned the pick and roll, he was probably the biggest issue with Arkansas's pick and roll defense, and kind of overhelping in certain times, taking some chances that he didn't need to take in certain times. And he ended up hitting a 3 late, but didn't have the 3-ball working. And how many times have we said this? If Trevin hits his first 3 or 2, probably going to be a pretty good Trevin game. If he misses his first 3, a little bit different. He missed his first 3, and he shied away a little bit in this game. And I think he's going to be disappointed with himself, and that sucks. But I really don't think this was an example of Trevin just kind of completely self-imploding like he's done in certain times. I just think he wasn't very good in this game, and that's unfortunate. That was, like you said, one of the variables Arkansas needed to go their way. We felt like if Arkansas was going to win this matchup, it might come through Trevin Brazile. Not even close in this one.
Yeah, for sure. Nick Pringle also out of eligibility. He deserves a hell of a lot of credit. And he's not been great all season for Arkansas. We know that. he was hurt. That was legitimate. And those dogs were barking, man. That hamstring was not feeling good. He was limping around. He was grimacing in pain. When he come off the bench, he was getting stretched, getting the massage gun, getting the hot pack, doing everything he could to stay loose out there. And I thought he played his butt off, man. I know he got pissed and slammed the ball down there. I wanted to do the same thing. I get it. You don't like to see that in those situations because it's not going to help you, cut into a deficit. But I think he deserves a lot of credit. I think he earned a lot of respect from Razorback fans who have probably been disappointed with the output throughout the course of the season. But, he was so good in the SEC title game against Vanderbilt. And obviously he's been out with that hamstring, working his way back. And for him to come in and give Arkansas the minutes that he did, had a couple big dunks, had some blocks. He was dropping some shoulders on Awaka and Kribos in there. He played with the type of physicality that was required to hold up in this basketball game. He was flying around. I thought he did a good job hedging ball screens. He was doubling, sprinting back. That's a good way to go out. He's had a long career, man. The dude's played a lot of basketball, and I don't know what the future holds for him, but I know it's not going to be in college. And I appreciate Nick for the way that he played in this basketball game today. I appreciate Nick for the way that he carried himself all season long in talking to the media and talking to us and being a good teammate. And he's been a good Razorback, man. We can look at the stats and say whatever we want, and yet we all wish that we would have got more from him. But he's a good representative for what you want wearing the Razorback uniform.
Yeah, 100%. You said that very well. And, I think we talk a lot about just giving the team whatever you can give the team, whether that's three-point shooting, defense, a block here, a rebound there, a steal here. Just give us whatever you can give us. And I think for a lot of the season, that was our big frustration with Nick Pringle is not that we expected him to be this transformational big man, but we've seen him be tough. We've seen him be physical. We've seen him be a borderline defensive anchor for a toughness and physicality for a team and have that be a huge part of their identity. And when we weren't getting that at many stretches during the season, I think that is what really rubbed Razorback fans the wrong way, was that him being injured throughout the year, because I know he battled his different illnesses a little bit. Was that just him trying to find his role? I don't know, but I felt like today, unequivocally, without a shadow of a doubt, Nick Pringle gave the team everything he could have possibly given them. I felt like that was the case in that Vanderbilt game in the SEC tournament. I don't know if there was a single game that Nick Pringle suited up at Arkansas fully healthy, and that includes today. We know for a fact he wasn't 100% healthy, but I felt like he was fighting out there. I felt like he was competing, and that's really all we want to see. And so I think you're 100% right that he was kind of as advertised down the stretch for Arkansas, being that locker room presence, that leader, and a guy that can bring that toughness and physicality. I just wish we had gotten to see more of that throughout the year, but it wasn't in the cards.
No, it wasn't in the cards. Shout out to our partners over at OZK Insurance for all their support throughout the course of the season. You guys know the drill at this point. If you don't, you haven't been listening, because we talk about it all the time, man. But it's an independent insurance agency, which means they get to shop all of the top-rated carriers to find the best coverage and price for you. And now they have that full-service mobile app where you can do a little bit of everything, all from the convenience of your phone. You can pay your bills, request roadside assistance, file claims, request policy changes, or even get new quotes, all from right there on your phone. So if you're tired of being stuck with one carrier or chasing down paperwork, just go to ozkinsurance.com or search OZK Insurance in the App Store or Google Play. It's a local agency with national-level options, one powerful app. That's OZK Insurance. Okay, last thing before we get into the chat here, man, and the season comes to an end, and so the first thing that you want to do is say, well, how are they going to get further next year? How can they get over that hump? How can they take the next step? I think a lot of it's going to be defense, right? Well, the good news for everybody is, and Cal said this, and he's right when he says it, they went out and he's getting his freshmen, right? But he has 3 5-stars coming in who fit the mold of the type of physical bodies that Arkansas just didn't have this season. Jordan Smith Jr., I'm telling you right now, those Arizona guards are not going to be driving through him like that. J.J. Andrews, physical specimen. Abdou Toure, same way with his athleticism and his length in there. Arkansas's got some good freshmen coming in. They're going to have to rebuild that front court now, probably all of it, because the only one who could possibly come back is Malik Ewan. Who knows if that's even going to happen, because he's got to go through a waiver process and everything else that is far from a sure thing. And then the question becomes, who is coming back? It ain't Darius Acuff. We ain't talking about that. Malik Thomas, boy, he showed pretty well for himself in the NCAA tournament. I don't think for Razorback fans who want a Malik Thomas for year 2, I don't think the way Malik Thomas played throughout the course of the NCAA tournament here is going to put you in position to make that a reality. Sorry.
Yeah, no, not at all. And Malik wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Would have liked to see him maybe assert his will a little bit more, get up a few more 3-point attempts. I just feel like every time he touches the ball around the arc, I'm like, shoot it, please shoot it. I think Cal says the same thing, but no question about Malik Thomas's readiness for a game like this. I thought he was tough. He makes smart decisions, doesn't really turn the ball over. He had 2 turnovers in this game. That's probably the most he's had in a game in over a month. He's a good shooter. He's got that intensity about him. I think defensively, we didn't see much of it today because he wasn't really a factor much out there. But I think his ability to create some havoc defensively will serve him well moving forward. I know Hog fans don't really understand. I shouldn't say all Hog fans. Some Hog fans don't really get how the NBA draft works and what the NBA is looking for. I'll just go ahead and tell you, 6'5" wings that have long arms and can shoot threes and are
willing to defend,
and that are willing to defend and make smart decisions. Those guys have very long careers in the NBA. Malik Thomas will have a very long career in the NBA, no doubt about it.
So DJ Wagner, Billy Richmond, Carter Knox, Malik Ewing. How many of those guys would you bring back?
Okay, hold on. Read it again. DJ, Billy, Ewing,
and Carter.
I would love to bring all 4 back.
Me too.
Would love to bring all 4 back.
Now,
by the way, I didn't think Malik Ewing was bad in this game. I didn't think he was good.
I didn't think he was.
I didn't think he was bad in this game. I thought he was fine. In fact, he might have been Arkansas's best defender in this game at certain times. But no, I think that would be, especially Carter and Billy. Now, Carter and Billy kind of play the same position, but, you mentioned some of those freshmen Arkansas has coming in. A lot of body types in the 6'5" to 6'7" range. There's a reason why Eric Musselman used to build his roster with entirely 6'6" athletic guys with long arms.
Yeah.
They're very valuable. They're versatile. They can play with just about anyone. And so Billy and Carter, those are guys that can play together. I think J.J. Andrews can play with those guys. I think Jordan Smith Jr. can play with those guys. I think Abdou Toure can play with those guys. Now, will you play all 5 of those guys together? Probably not, but there's a lot of different combinations. And I think about Arkansas's roster this year, and I love this roster. And I thought it was, for the most part, a well-constructed group, just a little bit short. The body types. Arkansas didn't really have, Carter and, Billy, and what is he, 6'5", 6'6"? He's in that kind of range, but Carter and Billy were really it. Maybe Isaiah Sealy, who they didn't use a ton. Arkansas in a lot of these matchups just faced guys that were bigger, physical, more strong than them. And I think next year's roster should have a little bit more versatility, certainly on the defensive side of the ball. Now, will they be this good offensively? Who knows? They're going to have to make some moves there. But I do think in terms of just the positional versatility, Arkansas, you can get some of these guys back, would really help in that regard.
I agree 100% because that's one thing that they lacked, and it's one thing that was missing was that type of positional versatility, the versatility of lineups that you could put out there. Arkansas was limited, so I felt like in every game after Carter went down, it was almost like, man, they're really at a mismatch or a disadvantage at one particular position. It felt like every game you need to be able to go big, you need to be able to go athletic. You can play 4 of those guys together and go small. You can play Carter or Billy or anybody else at the 2 to give yourself some more length against some of these big-ass teams that Arkansas has played throughout the course of the year. I would bring as many of those guys in, or as many of those guys back as I possibly could, and I don't really I'm not worried about, well, you've got 2 wings coming in, you can't bring 2 wings back. Sure you can. Of course you can, for all the reasons you said, because that type of versatility, they can play 3 or more different positions out there on the floor, and Arkansas needs that, and they do need more bodies. I know Cal's not going to do it, but they do need more, especially if they're not going to stay healthy on any given year. It's like you have one injury that kicks your ass every season. I wish that they would go a little bit deeper. Maybe the pathway to doing that is by these guys who have been with Cal and rocked with him for so long coming back, and then he's got to go get guys in the front court. So maybe that's the way for them to expand it. Malik Ewing, he made enough of an impression on me down the stretch of the season where I'm open to having Malik Ewing back and being a part of the rotation, but they've got to go get an absolute dog. They got to go. You can't do the thing where it's like, okay, Ewing's our starting center. We're going to get Nick Pringle's replacement and just do. No. You got to go out and get an absolute monster, whatever it takes, whatever it costs. I don't care. Arkansas's got to go get that out of the transfer portal. That is priority number 1, and you got to go get a starting 4-man too. Preferably one that can stretch the floor and shoot it, maybe even better than Trevin did, because that's one thing that's going to be maybe a little bit touch and go. I'm not saying that they can't shoot it, but it's not going to be as good as this year's team was. They're going to have to address that a little bit in the portal, I think.
Yeah, no, 100%. When Arkansas went into the portal this past offseason and got Malik Ewing and Nick Pringle, the thought process was, hey, we've got Malik Ewing. He's going to give us some offensive versatility, some playmaking, maybe some scoring down there. And then we've got our enforcer. We've got our bruiser. We've got our defensive guy in Nick Pringle. They're going to need to – and by the way, it's not a foregone conclusion at all that Malik Ewing is able to come back at all. But if you do get Ewing back, I think that helps you a lot. You have to have that same kind of premise where you have to get someone who can just bring that physicality, and that's their only job. And again, it comes back to Trevin, where that spot and what Arkansas does with it is going to be very interesting. And I think there's different paths they can take with it. I'm sure guys like Carter and Billy are going to spend some time at the floor, and you'll see some small ball lineups out of Arkansas, but you got to have that depth and you've got to have that versatility, and Arkansas has to have that ability to go big. I mean, you think about this matchup. This is the type of matchup where you can't really go small. You can't have someone small, someone 6'6" at the 4 position there in this type of game. Arkansas's got to give themselves some bodies, and I think they've got a really nice starting point with some of those guys that we talked about and kind of the body types that Arkansas will have out on the wing. I also think from a continuity, leadership, bringing the team together standpoint, getting guys like DJ and Billy back, I think are going to be massive.
I think so too. John's in the locker room, by the way. I don't even know where my phone is. I don't know if he's sending us any updates, but he'll be uploading some videos from the locker room. That's never a fun thing to do. I'm not, if you're expecting any like groundbreaking, I'm coming back type of news, you're probably not going to get it. But
not tonight.
You'll hear probably the brief words that some of those guys have to say after a disappointing loss here. Also want to give a shout out to our partners over at Blue Ember Smokehouse for everything and all the support throughout the course of the season here at the Pot the Palace and inside Arkansas. Those guys have been awesome, and their food is awesome. So make sure you go check them out. They've got locations in Fort Smith, Jonesboro, Texarkana, Little Rock, Hot Springs, and Rogers. And if you can't make it out to them, they can come to you. They will cater for your weddings, your parties, your big events, anything you might have going on. You see the numbers on your screen. Contact your local location for more information on pricing. Scan the QR code or go to their website, www.blueembersmokehouse.com, to learn more. Okay, let's get into the chat and see how everybody's doing. Appreciate everybody for hanging out with us for one final time.
Yeah,
you're on the Pot the Palace postgame show this season.
Been seeing a lot of chats come in that we're going to get to, and that's awesome to me. That no matter how bad it gets, and no matter how depressed we may be going into this, we got an audience full of people that love the Hogs and are supporting us, and that's certainly not lost in these moments.
Absolutely. We've got from Tamara. She says nobody will beat Arizona. They couldn't miss. They will beat Purdue by 40 points. The ejection called on Billy for a guy flopping was uncalled for. I hate these refs. Okay, I'm going to tackle this one at a time. Nobody will beat Arizona. They couldn't miss. Well, I'm sure there are teams out there that can make them miss more than Arkansas did. At least I hope so. But they play like that. They ain't nobody beating them. Purdue, I feel like, is going to get run off the floor by Arizona after watching both of those teams in person today. The ejection on Billy for the guy flopping was uncalled for. He absolutely sold it there. There's no doubt about it.
Not an ejection at all.
I was thinking it was going to be a flagrant one at worst. So I was kind of surprised at that. Did he give him a little bit extra, or did he load up for it as the guy was kind of running through? Yeah, sure, maybe. I thought that was a little much. I will say though, because again, we were right behind the bench. I love Billy like he's my son.
Yeah,
I really do. He did not help himself at all with the way that he was talking after that as the officials going up there. I know that shouldn't impact your decision making or anything like that, but he was making it very clear.
Yeah.
How he felt about the situation, how he felt about the officiating. I'm just saying the words that were coming out of his mouth that were directed at the people making the decisions did not help him at all in that scenario.
You can't call the referee a BAN. You can't call the referee. But listen, and because I saw a lot of people that were butthurt that I said that Billy was trying to get away with a dirty play. You guys can say what you want, and you can view it through whatever rose-colored glasses you want. We're sitting right there. You can watch the video. Billy Richmond, he tried to do it subtly, made a very conscious decision to go out of his way and give a little shove. Now, was it a dramatic shove that warranted the guy flopping like a fish all over the floor? No. Billy knew exactly what he was doing, though. He was going to put a lick on that guy. That was his game plan. That's exactly what he did. He might as well have just told the ref right afterwards that's exactly what he did. I don't think he should have been ejected for it. I don't think it was a flagrant 2. The guy undoubtedly flopped. But we don't have to sit here and act like, oh, Billy, he just bumped into him. He actively went out of his way to lay a hammer on the guy. Like, we don't have to sit here and bullshit about this, okay?
Yeah. I would give him a flagrant 1.
Yeah.
Leave
it at that.
Yeah, exactly. Those Band Geek says, why do you think we had so much trouble hitting threes in the tourney? Billy got ejected. Billy getting ejected killed me. Haters, Hogs, and anyone else like and subscribe. Well, I mean, they shot like 60% in the game against High Point from 3.
They didn't take a ton.
Yeah, there's that. They didn't shoot it very well against Hawaii. They also didn't need to. In this game, they were playing arguably the best defense in the country. And so I think that had a lot to do with it. And also, how many did A-Cup wind up shooting?
6, maybe
1 of 5. Well, I mean, when A-Cup and Malik Thomas combined to go 2 of 9 from 3, that's the answer.
Yeah.
Like
Those
those
are
two guys
your
weren't hitting their shots. They have to be able to knock those down, and they weren't. So that's the answer, man. Your 2 45% 3-point shooters weren't knocking them down, and there we go. But I don't think it was anything to do with the tournament in general. I give Arizona credit for the way that they defended Arkansas in this game. They didn't give Arkansas anything easy, man. And I know they still scored 88 points or whatever, but that's a really good defensive team. I'll give them credit where it's due.
Yeah.
Let's see. Walla Walla Hog says, not the result we wanted, but about what you'd expect if you told me Arizona was going to shoot 64% from the field. We shoot 22% from 3, and the officiating was called the way it was. Still mighty proud. Thanks for your coach. We appreciate that for sure. I was irritated with the disparity in the foul calls in the second half. I think one time
10 to 2 at one point.
Exactly. That's crazy. Now, is that the difference in the basketball game? No, of course not, but that doesn't help you at all. And by the way, I'll just address it now because I think I started later in the chat. I don't know, but some people were asking, like, why did Cal get the tech? Why did Cal get the tech? He was whoever the guy was sitting right beside the bench on the scorer's table, the worker, I have no, maybe an NCAA official is what I'm thinking it was. But Cal turned to him and he literally said, "Hey, we suck tonight. We suck." And he was pointing out the disparity. Like, this is crazy. Like, I understand they're pushing us around in there because they're more physical, but they foul too. Like, it's okay to call it too. That was all he said. He wasn't cussing at him, wasn't being crazy. It was a very casual conversation. He was actually kind of laughing with
he wasn't
when he was talking about it. The official took exception to it, and he called the technical foul. What is his name? Stu. He said, "You can't talk to Stu. We're
I
not
just
going to have
seen
that."
the guy walk by and saw that his name tag said Stu.
Right.
And then I heard the ref screaming, "You can't talk to Stu. You can't talk to Stu." And I'm like, I guess that's like some rule that you can't speak to the people at the scorer's table. I don't know.
You know what I didn't like about the officials? The two young guys in particular, every time Cal or anybody, Arkansas related said anything to them, they would just get this smug smile on their face, like, "You talking to me?"
Yeah.
It was almost like, "You guys are just bitching for the sake of bitch." And I that was driving me nuts. I can't imagine how much that would get under the skin of staff members. They were getting ready to throw Kenny Payne out of the game.
Yeah, truly.
For everybody who says Kenny Payne doesn't do anything or doesn't say anything, he was like this close to getting ejected from the basketball game by one of those officials, man.
And we will reiterate one more time. That had no bearing on Arkansas winning or losing the game.
It was decided
they were
well
no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, this was all after it was decided, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't a little bit weird there.
Yeah, exactly. Sharkensaw says, "I feel very sorry for the fans who spent their entire year bitching about a team with a generational player because they didn't have a true big. We witnessed greatness this year." Yeah, this is a tough balancing act that we have to play here on this show because we go live immediately after a game. It's a season-ending loss, and we're reacting to the game in the moment. I know you're not talking about us, but I'm trying to relate this back to Razorback fans too. It's a challenge for us to have to draw that line between, hey, we are very disappointed in how this game went down and how this season ended because of the way Arkansas played and kind of got dominated today, without people automatically jumping on it saying, "Why are you bitching? You went to the Sweet 16." Because it's not what we're doing here, man. I'm very proud of this basketball team. I loved covering this team. I loved watching this team, and I'm going to miss them. I'm going to miss all these guys, including Darius Acuff. But it's not lost on me and my mentions and everything on Twitter how as soon as Arizona got up by 8 points and Trevin got dunked on, I was flooded with the Bigs have been terrible all year. They're awful. They don't belong here. And that kind of stuff, it's just an emotional reaction in the moment to people who really want to see Arkansas succeed.
Right.
And when they're not doing that, you got to figure out, like, okay, well, A, who can I blame it on? Or B, what can I blame it on? And people just latch onto that. So I wouldn't get too caught up on it, Arkansas. I understand where you're coming from, though. Butcher Boy says, "Hell of a season. Thank you all for taking time away from home to cover for us fans. Your sacrifices are appreciated." Well, thank you for that. It's not that big of a sacrifice. I mean, I miss my family. I miss my kid for sure. But we have been able to travel around the country and cover college basketball. So that's great. It hasn't been cheap, but you guys have helped with that a ton. And you wonder, man, they do these ad reads every show. It's like, man, what's up with all these ads? that's how we're able to get out here and do this. And so when we say how much we appreciate Blue Ember and Fight House and Bet Saracen and OZK Insurance and everybody else, we mean it, man, because we wouldn't be able to do this and provide this type of coverage for you guys if it wasn't for that and it wasn't for all the support from all of you. So thank you guys for all of that. And it's it was a hell of a season, a hell of a ride. I can't wait until Arkansas takes the next step.
Yeah.
They had some obvious flaws this year. It sucks that you weren't able to do it with the generational type of talent like Darius Acuff, for sure.
Well, and just make no mistake, there is literally nowhere else we would want to be. And there's been a lot of years where I haven't gone and I've been like, man, that's all I want to do. When I was a kid growing up, all I ever wanted to do was be there for these moments. And so as bad as today was, and, we came to San Jose and we went 0-1 in San Jose, there's absolutely the last thing from regrets. I mean, we're always going to want to be there, and we appreciate you guys for helping us.
For sure. From Princess Calipari says, I've told my husband – okay, I see what's going on here. I've told my husband that he needs to recruit a man to play the post. These 3 stars that play patty cake will not suffice. You all wasted the best player Arkansas has had for that performance. And see, I think this is a troll job, obviously, but
appreciate Ellen for chiming in, though.
Yeah, no, thanks for that, for sure. One day, Arkansas will have a roster of 15 first-round draft picks that will suffice for everybody in there. Was that what held Arkansas back? Maybe you could say that. Maybe we could say the fives, Nick Pringle and Malik Ewan, are the reason why Arkansas was only one of the last 16 teams in the country standing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Arkansas overcame all that. So is it really as bad as people say? Would you have been able to afford or have a Darius Acuff on your team if you went out and got Krivas or whoever the hell, for Arizona in this basketball game? Every team has their strengths and weaknesses except the teams that win the national championship, which is what Arizona is probably going to do. We continue to strive to get to that point. But I hate to say it, but I feel like this is a very lazy ass take. And frankly, I'm sick of talking about it, because it's not like Arkansas just said, hey, you know what? I'm going to get a couple of post players who suck. And we're just going to let that be a big problem. That way we have an excuse to lean on when Darius Acuff's team doesn't make it to a Final Four. You all saw the vision with the way that Nick Pringle played in his last 2 outings. That was the Nick Pringle you thought you were going to get. He didn't play that way all year. He was injured most of the year. That sucks. But is that on Cal? Is that him going cheap? Malik Ewan, you guys saw the back-to-back double-doubles in the NCAA tournament earlier. Nobody was bitching about that, or the things that he did in the SEC tournament, or the big games that he did have. We have a game like this, and all of a sudden he has to go back on all of them. We always have to find certain players to scapegoat here. These guys busted their ass. Everybody who contributed to the cause is a reason why Arkansas made the Sweet 16. So pinning on one player or whatever is crazy. And frankly, in some of these games where we talk about Arkansas getting physically overmatched or whatever, in some of these games the guards didn't show up, and the guards defensively weren't good for Arkansas either. So there's a lot of credit to go around when things go well, and there's blame that can be spread all the way around, from the coaching staff to whatever player to us to whoever else. So I just hate when we have to pinpoint it on certain things. Do they need to upgrade in certain positions? Yeah, of course they do. But constantly shitting on these guys the entire year, I don't know how much good that did. I hope that it makes you feel better and sleep better at night if you're in that category.
I mean, and to further your point, because I think it was very well said, but to further your point, like Cal always talks about, I get these individual players. My goal as a coach is to get the most possible out of these individual players. And usually your season ends when 1 or 2 or maybe 3 of those guys don't play to their full capabilities. Because to your point, like, if Trevin Brazil plays to his full capabilities, Malik Ewan plays to his full capabilities, Nick Pringle is healthy and plays to his full capabilities, you get what you get from the guards and the wings, and maybe you have Carter Knox healthy. If Arkansas had gotten the most possible out of their roster, I think it was as good as anyone in the country. Like, I really do. And it didn't work out that way. And do you need to have more depth? Do you need to have more options in case someone goes down? 1,000%. And we can have those conversations. We have had those conversations. We've agreed with you guys on that point, but I'm with you that I don't think there's any sense in like doing this revisionist history. And I know it's not even revisionist history because people have been saying it all year, but to Arkansas's point, Arkansas's been winning all year, and you guys have been talking about it all year. And it's like, at some point it's a little bit bigger than just this very narrow-minded view that we keep dissecting.
It's like, I mean, there are 349 teams in the country that would trade places with you right now. Right now, they would. So what would you rather be? Would you rather be the team that made it to the Sweet 16 and lost, or would you rather be all the Kentucky fans that are in our chat laughing at Arkansas, laughing at Cal for doing what they haven't been able to do and what they can't do? And they've been sitting at home for a week with their 15 losses or whatever they took this season. So pick the side that you want to be on, man. But I hate when we start to try to eat our own after a season that ends like this, man.
I just don't know why that makes you feel better. You know what I mean? Because like Trevin Brazil stunk tonight. There's no way around it. But does it make you guys feel better to be like, see, Trevin sucked. I told you 6 months ago that Trevin might suck. It's like, I just don't know how that's helping anybody.
Tamara says, one hell of a ride is fixing to end for every team but one team. This one sucked. Yes. Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah, good way to put it.
Thanks for a great season, Luke says.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you, Luke. We appreciate that. Was a good season. T Razorback says, this was just 2021 Baylor, 2022 Duke. 2022, yes, we know they got their ass kicked by a lot of really good teams at this point of the year. Fun year, but defense was soft all year, and it was the same tonight. Got to get a great Portal 5. Well, next year, the good news is people will be able to bitch about the offense not being as good because they're going to have defense. I promise you that. With Jordan Smith Jr. and JJ and Abdul Torre, this team will be upgraded defensively. They got to get the 5 that you're talking about for sure. But, yes, the defense was leaky. It's frustrating because for all these years, because all these, like you mentioned here, it felt like Arkansas in those years ran into that team that was just, listen, man, like, what are you going to do? They're just better than you. And you hate that because you want to be that team at some point. But it feels like it's always been, well, Arkansas just doesn't have enough offensively because their defense was like top 20, top 10 in all these years. Now it's flipped. You have the best offense you ever had, and the defense slid back pretty darn far. Like sometimes you just have to have a trade-off there where maybe we're sacrificing some on the defensive end so we can get better at scoring it. But it was more than I think we bargained for this year. And it was leaky. It has to get better, and it will get better. I promise you that with the guys that are coming in here. Derek Tips says, the look on Cal's face at the end, I got to get some bigs. I hate saying good season, but it was a good season. Will be a lot of fun next year, too.
Yeah, I've been actually surprised by how few people have done have like tried to claim that this wasn't a good season. I thought that might be like the tenor in the chat, but I think a lot of fans view it the same way we do in that good season. You know, we're going to have great memories of this team, brutal way for it to end, and just a bitter taste that is going to be in our mouths for a little bit.
I got bad news for people, though. Arkansas could go out and get the Defensive Player of the Year at center, but if the guards don't keep the ball in front of them better, it's not going to look any better.
Facts.
It's not going to look any better.
I mean, Arkansas's 5 position was borderline good defensively in this game.
It was.
That's a stretch, but it's like they were.
I know it wasn't all year.
Sure. But in
tonight,
this particular game, Pringle was the only guy that gave you really anything defensively. Malik Ewan got a few stops and was actually pretty good on the boards for the most part. It was the 4 position in the guards that were horrible.
Washburn Idol says, hell of a ride this year. Going to miss this team. They were a lot of fun. Can't wait to watch A-Cup in the NBA. Said I wasn't going to get on here and complain about rest, but damn, justice for Billy.
Yeah.
We talked about the Billy stuff there. Yeah, it was a hell of a ride. And this team was fun, man. It was a blast to cover these guys. And, you said it once, said it 1,000 times tonight. Great season. Love this team. Wish it wouldn't have ended the way that it did.
Yeah, facts.
Lanky says, thanks for everything this year, guys. Arizona was just ridiculous. Played an A+ game. Hated to see how a lot of our guys went out. Nightmare finish to an incredible year. That's pretty well said. I mean, that's a good summarization of what we were dealing with here tonight. And I know we've done it, but yeah, dude. I mean, credit to Arizona. They were the real deal in there for sure.
Pretty good at basketball. It turns out the 35-2 team that beat all the teams that beat Arkansas's ass turned out to be pretty good.
Yeah,
Big 12 might be a decent conference.
Yep. Anthony Black's fan club says preseason ranked 16, borderline 4 or 5 seed. AP poll bounced around late teens, early 20s all year. Lost to every top 10 team we played. Truth is, we were good, just not great. Go get Boca Titus, please. Well, Boca Titus is out too. So
yeah, interesting. But no, that is a good way to put it. This was a good season. This was not a great season. Arkansas was a good team. They were not a great team. We can sit here and talk about why and who we hate and who we don't like. That is the reality. Arkansas was good this year. They weren't great.
Exclusive Cart says our guys didn't play good, but dang, Billy got screwed. So I know a lot of people are on this, man. There were things that led up to that particular play that had them eagle-eyeing Billy too. I mean, this is a accumulation effect, man. But I hated to see that because I actually thought Billy played
he was
really well.
He
in
was
this game,
downhill
man.
Bill tonight, man.
He was very much downhill Bill. I'm with you. Like I hope that's not the last we see of him in a Razorback uniform. I don't think it will be, but you never know what happens.
He did hit a 3 tonight. So
It hit a 3 tonight. Exclusive Cart says Pringle played better tonight than he had all year. Pringle's very good in this game tonight for sure, man. It's good to see. They needed him, because we were played like 70 seconds and both Trevin and Ewan had a foul. It's like, here we go.
Funniest moment of the night for me. And by the way, our seats, we continue to get good seats at these things. I guess it'll end now, but we were right by the Arkansas bench as Nick Pringle fouled out and he was coming off the court. And because we always joked about it, we were like, we need those 5 fouls. He was like, I gave you all of them. I gave you all of them, MFers. I gave you all of them.
That he did. That he did for sure. Lane Hedge says, definitely not feeling great after that one, but man, what a season. Watching Acuff do his thing was special. Big shout out to everyone inside Arkansas for the incredible coverage all year. Woo pig forever. Lane, we appreciate you for that, man. Appreciate you for that.
Absolutely.
Let's see. I'm running through super chats first here.
Yeah, of course.
Key Razorback says, Andrew, thank you for calling out the players being sore losers. People in the chat still trying to blame the refs. Like again, man, there's blame to go around there for sure. As we mentioned, the foul disparity in the second half was crazy for a while there. It wasn't a difference in the game, but it was a thing, and that led to some of the frustrations that did boil over there. But this was not a one-off situation for this Arkansas team. There have been other games where it hasn't been going their way, or the loss was inevitable because they weren't able to do what they needed to do on the court, and the frustrations have been boiled over, and we've seen some of this from Arkansas in these spots throughout the course of the year. I really didn't think tonight was any different. Should Billy have been tossed? No, probably not, but was a flagrant warranted? I definitely think that it was.
Would you go as far as to say that 2 things could be true? And that maybe Arkansas didn't play with a ton of composure and mental toughness down the stretch, and they also got a raw deal by the officials? Is that possible?
That is, absolutely. Absolutely. John Beckman says, here's some NIL for that defensive front court. Thank you. We
hope you had fun watching us.
Could use it, yeah. Sorry that they canceled the CBI, so you weren't able to go to that.
I know your team's been done for a month and a half, but glad we gave you something to watch on your week.
Those Band Geek says, wild season. Thank you guys for the post-game show. Thank you for all the support, man, throughout the course of the year. We really appreciate you. Look forward to your chats, and don't disappear. I'm sure we'll be doing Inside Arkansas Live.
I figure we'll do a show tomorrow.
We will relive everything that we've talked about tonight, and I can't wait for that. So it ain't gonna stop, man. Not Bill says Arizona was unreal. Nothing against those guys, but I was all about playing physical after the worst flagrant 2 call in the history of basketball. Ready for first tip next fall.
I like it.
Big Salty Hog says the refs blew big. You know what? Like I've never seen. Billy's foul was garbage. It was 11-2 foul count at one point in the second half. I want Bill, Carter, Malik, DJ, and drop the biggest bag for Leak, please. Listen, man. I
don't think that's happening.
I don't think so. Well, let me say this, though. And they don't really have that much control over this, but if we really want to avoid being in the same boat next year of, man, this is a really good team, and if all the ingredients come together perfectly, then, boy, they could do something special. If you want to get past that, and get to the point where you go into a season, you go, this is it. This is the squad. This is the Final Four team right here. They've got everything that they need. Then one of 2 things has to happen. They got to. One thing that has to happen for sure is they got to get more bodies. They just have to. Like it's crazy at this point. It's hampered them both seasons. You got to go get some extra depth in there. I hope that they understand that. I don't think they do. We'll see. But you either have to pay up to get a kind of guy like that back, and talk him into you'll go lottery next year because the draft sucks. Cal doesn't operate that way. I get it. I think League's gone. I've said it. But if you get a guy like that back with your other returners, that's the type of stuff where you look at him and go, oh, wow, sophomore Malik Thomas, that's an All-American type of player.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's the type of stuff that levels you up. B, you have to be willing to pay to get the type of guy that's going to be a game changer. Arkansas is going to have to pay to get the type of difference makers that everybody hopes that they're going to get in the portal in the front court. You're going to have to upgrade that situation. You're going to have to probably take more transfers than you want to at this point, and we'll see if they wind up doing that. But what I want is not we get to, when they start summer practice and everybody convenes back on campus, and I'm doing the Pod the Palace episodes where here are the reasons why Arkansas could be this. I want to be doing the podcast where I'm saying this is why Arkansas is getting ready to kick everybody's ass because of the roster that they put together here. I'm grateful for where they're at. I'm pleased with where they're at, but I want them to take the next step forward, and I'm tired of feeling like it's one piece away or you just need all the conditions to be right. You don't have to go overboard. You don't have to go get 15 guys and, spend $22 million like Mark Pope did when that disaster of a roster that they had. But there are ways that they could help themselves maybe a little bit more than they have the last couple of years, if we're being honest.
You guys are going to be stunned. We might have a guest appearance for some scoops from the locker room on the show. You guys will be stunned to see who it is.
What's up, fellas?
What's going on? Do we need to move over and make some room?
I mean, you guys are doing such a good job. I was listening to it on my way over here from the SAP Center because it's pretty sappy over there. But yeah, got out of the locker room. Didn't have all the players available, but as you guys know, it's a pretty tough thing to be in there. But I will say, as far as the losses have gone, that may not have been the worst one. I will say the ones that like Malik Thomas handled everything awesomely.
He's a pro, man.
I mean, he was incredible. He was took a lot of the hard questions, and some people were, I felt personally, a little too pushy towards him, trying to say, "All right, you coming back next year? You coming back next year?" And he kind of, he didn't get mad, but you could tell he's kind of like, I'm not making that decision right now.
This is not the time to announce it.
Right. So, but he just talked about how much he loved this team and how much this was the best year of his life in basketball. And I mean, again, we have it posted up if people want to check it out. But he was awesome. DJ Wagner got to talk to him for just a little bit, and and he's also a pro. He's going to handle himself. Unfortunately, this is his third exit from an NCAA tournament, and he said all the right things and everything like that. Nick Pringle also. I mean, again, I was really impressed by the way that some of these guys handled themselves, comparatively speaking. But honestly, what probably stood out is obviously Trevin Brazil, Darius Acuff spoke at the podium, so we didn't really get a chance to talk to them. Malik Ewan was nowhere to be found. I don't know if he was being worked on. Obviously, Billy Richmond, as you guys can imagine, was probably somewhere else. Not available to be spoken to. But I'll tell you this, Carter Knox was in there. And I want to say this, and people will be able to see it. I don't want to speak for him, but he almost was hovering around like he wanted people to come and talk to him. Like he kind of kept looking at me. He got just not like staring daggers at me, but you could tell he was wanting people to come up to him and kind of talk. So we had an opportunity to do so. And he had a lot of emotion. Like he was talking about how much he loved this team and these players and I think it was almost heartbreaking because he was asked about the possibility of him, returning for the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. And it almost made me get a little emotional because he's like, he just stopped and he paused. You could tell he's collecting and he just goes, "Man, I was so close." He's like, "I was so close." And I'm like, man, that breaks your heart because it's like, how much it's got to kill him not to be out there. But you could tell he was just wanting, almost like, again, I don't want to look too much into it, but it's almost like he's like, I'm going to stand right here and talk to people so that way I can shield these guys from having to talk to other people. And that's what I was really impressed by him. He talked to everybody. He answered every question. And again, it's like he didn't play. So, there's only so much he can say. But I was really impressed by him in that moment to where, he could have just not been there. He could have just, because nobody would have said, "Hey, where's Carter?" He stood up. And I think a lot of that was just kind of him stepping in and be like, come talk to me in this short period of time that you have to talk to players. So that way you don't have to talk to these other guys that just had their season and sometimes in their college career come to an end. So I was really impressed by that.
That's good stuff, man. I respect that a lot. It kind of reminds me of what Nick Pringle was doing while he was hurt and he couldn't play. It seems like he was ready to answer every question that came his way. And you're right, man. It's the worst thing. This is the worst show that we ever have to do. And that locker room is the worst place to ever be after a season ends like that. and nobody wants to talk. Nobody even wants to be in there asking the questions. You just kind of have to. That's part of the job. And I like that a lot by Carter, man. That's a big sign of maturity. And you could just kind of feel it the entire time we were around him the last couple weeks that he was obviously very much itching to get back, but man, he was in good spirits, and that shows a lot of leadership to be able to step up and do that. Kind of take the bullets for your guys there who just went out there and saw their season come to an end. So good on Carter. We'll see what the future holds for him. I hope it's a future at Arkansas personally, but time will tell, man. But that's good to hear. That's good stuff there.
We were very impressed with Carter and how willing he was to talk and be open with us. And we were like, man, it's just good to see Carter laughing and smiling. Last week in Portland, tonight, I watched him a lot during the game because we were right there by the team in the bench. And he was very engaged during timeouts, pulling guys aside. And, Carter's got a good personality. I wouldn't say the most exuberant talker of all time. I saw him talking a lot to his teammates and clapping and trying to get guys fired up during timeouts. And again, that's a guy that clearly wants to get out there and play, but that doesn't scream to me a guy that's just here for a check and here to cash an NIL and doesn't really care about being a Razorback. Like, that seems like someone who's really bought in on this team and the brothers that he's built in this program.
Yeah, and another thing too, just again, it was kind of recollecting all of it. I don't know who he was talking to. I don't know if it was a trainer. I don't know if it was a, there's so many people in there, and I just overheard him. I didn't get on film, or I don't think he's even being filmed, but I just heard him say something like, to the extent of, "There's nothing for us to be down about. There's nothing for us." He's like, this was a good year. It's not what we wanted it to end. He's like, but we did a lot of great things this year. It was a very positive and optimistic outlook on everything, and I think it was in a weird way. And I'm not trying to get too philosophical, but it was almost so needed in that moment. To where, again, I think with the ejection of Billy, the some of the careers coming to an end, like all of that stuff, it's like you needed somebody to kind of just take hold of that situation and try to do things. And I was really impressed by him doing that. And I also want to give a shout out to our guys, Malik, Thomas, and Amir. Came up, shook my hand, said, "Man, we appreciate you guys. We appreciate you covering us. Appreciate you." It was like you're awesome to us, and thank you. And Malik even said, "Thank you for always asking fair questions." Like, man, you really got this thing nailed down, my man. It's like, I barely asked you two things. It's like, but I appreciate it.
These guys keep track of all that. I'm sure I'm sure they actually genuinely do.
Yeah, but yeah. So again, it was really sad, but I will admit, it was not the saddest locker room I've ever been at the end of the game, which is not in a bad way.
Because they had 2 hours to process it. It was done pretty
yes.
quick, man.
Yeah. But it was definitely one that you could tell they were happy, they were proud of what they accomplished, they were proud of what they did, and I think some of them, and I don't know, I'm not gonna speak for all of them, but I think some of them are excited to get back after it next year and get back and ready after it again.
Well, the good news from that standpoint, because man, it's like last year we had to wait. And wait. And this year, I really don't think that wait's going to be that long. The good thing about playing as far into the tournament as Arkansas did is the portal opens a lot quicker. Some people's seasons have been done for a month now, and so they've been playing that waiting game a little bit. But the portal opens the day after the national title game. We're just a week and a half away from that, and it's open for 2 weeks. So if anybody's going to enter and be out of here, that's going to happen. If they're going to enter the draft and explore their options or whatever, we're going to know all of those things pretty quick. So I don't think it's going to be as long of a waiting game for Razorback fans to kind of find out at least the 3 freshmen that are coming in, who's returning, and then from there you can kind of go and build things out from the portal. We know it's going to start with the front court because they have to do that. But based on some, a handful of decisions here with some of these guys who could return, that could impact how many transfers they're looking to bring in too.
Also, real quick, I just got to listen to Cal for a little bit. I'll just give a quick summary of that. He had a lot of Cal-isms and everything. Talked about how much he loved this team, but he also was discussing about Arizona. He's like, because that's what the majority of the questions he got asked about was Arizona, and he was just like, they were just flat out better, flat out better. They played better, no excuses for it. He's like, it was a very obviously a physical game. But give them all the credit because they are a really, really good basketball team. Didn't address any the ejections or the technicals or anything like that. He wasn't even asked really, but the press conference was mainly just talking about Arizona, how good they are, how he's just going to take a little bit and figure out what the roster is going to look like next year, and very vague answers from the get-go there too.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Anything else? I mean, I know we didn't even get the chance to talk to you much during the game, but obviously you've been there after. We've been over here. Anything else you want to get off your chest? We still got a handful of chats to get back to. But
I mean, listen, it's. I mean, I guess when we get final thoughts, I'll give the real final thoughts. But you know, it was frustrating. It was kind of the game that we didn't want to see, and you know, somebody tweeted at me and said you jinxed it because you said Cal had never been blown out in a NCAA tournament game, and lo and behold, he did.
He got run off the court.
Yeah, so that was unfortunate, but you know, it doesn't take away from the season. It was a crappy game, just sucked. And you know, I know you guys have covered the most, but I will also say this real quick too. Coming out of the tunnel or coming through the tunnel back into the locker room, Darius Acuff was beside himself, devastated. I mean, like, in fact, when he saw the cameras, he stopped, got his towel and put it over his face because of like just his expression. And you could tell he was absolutely devastated. So, I mean, again, not that it's surprising, but you could tell that this wasn't just all right, season's over now, I can go get paid in the NBA. Like, it truly was crushing to him that it came to an end this way. So
that's actually, it's good to hear you say that, because I think sometimes there can be a stigma with, you know, the 5-star hot to trot freshmen, the one and done guys. If it's like, hey, they're just a mercenary, they're gonna come get their buckets, and when it's over, and they just go to the league and it's no big deal. But when you're a competitor, you don't get that good at the game of basketball without being the ultimate competitor. And if you're a competitor, then you're gonna feel it, man. And winning and success and your team and the guys you go to war with, all that stuff really matters to you. So I'm actually glad that you brought that up, man. And Acuff is a guy who rarely shows much emotion at all. And so when you do get that, I think it speaks a little bit louder than maybe it does for some other guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, it's not surprising. There's nothing disingenuous about that guy. There's nothing like, oh, I got to put on this I got to act like I'm sad because I'm supposed to be. Like that guy, any emotion that he shows is genuine emotion. Anything that he says and does is out of, you know, a true, like, genuine play, genuine action, genuine behavior. And you know, I haven't met his parents, but his parents raised a great kid. You know, I sound like an old man here, but it's just true. It's like they raised a great kid with a great personality and great behavior, and handled himself like a pro to the very end. So I'm gonna miss him.
I like it. Shout out to Rufus. Says, I offer my sincere thanks to Curtis and Andrew for a season most ably conducted. It's been a pleasure in every respect. The next chapter awaits, and one approaches it with steady optimism. I like that.
We appreciate you, man. Like, you are a real bright spot in our post-game chats, and we think it's awesome that you're still supporting your guy Cal, and you always bring a smile to our face. Dead serious.
Yeah, this program is in a good spot, man. A lot of postseason success. The visibility of the program is it's on a different level. What Darius Acuff, and we talked about him a little bit earlier, but like what he was able to do, Malik Thomas, those guys, it's only helping Arkansas become more of a destination when it comes to recruiting and getting guys in here. They're close, man. They're in a great spot. There are so many programs out there who wish they were doing exactly what Arkansas is doing right now. But for anybody, and I think there's a super chat coming up that we'll get to, but for anybody who's starved for more, you should be.
Yeah.
You should be. There's a difference in being grateful for the way that this season played out and understanding how great of the things that Arkansas accomplished have been. But you can also feel that way and go, damn it, I want more though. Like, I'm ready to take that next step. I'm disappointed that we weren't able to with a guy like Acuff. It's perfectly fine to feel both of those emotions right now. And I think that's probably the way that most people feel, honestly.
Yeah. And I think real quick too, I'm kind of hoping this is kind of like the get some men type of thing when you had that Todd Day team that was really good and everything, but then you played a team that was superior, and Larry John said, go get some men. And then they ended up getting some men. I'm hoping that maybe this is the kind of thing where it's like, I'm not saying no one told him, hey, go get some men, but maybe it's like hey, we're really good, but if we're going to get to this next level, we got to get some men on this team and really be that team like Arizona that we just saw type of thing.
Yeah, and it's one of the things we talked about, because it is interesting because right now they've only got those 3 freshmen coming in, but all 3 of those dudes, they are men.
Yeah.
If you're going to go get them, like, they're built a little bit different. You even think about a guy like Acuff, how physically strong he is. Jordan Smith Jr. makes him look small, with the size that dude has. JJ and Abdu are kind of the same way there. So, from a physicality and toughness and defense standpoint, In the backcourt and on the wings, it's looking pretty promising going into next year. Obviously, everybody's going to be fixated on the bigs, and I can feel myself being very, very picky because obviously a lot of guys have announced their intentions. This guy's entering the portal. I'm going to be available in the transfer portal, and so any big man, I'll get DMs or texts or whatever saying, "What about this guy? What about that guy?" And there are very few out there right now where I've been like, "Yep, he's the one."
Yeah,
because my standards are up there, man, for what I expect them to go get. And I know it's going to come at a premium. Like, you're going to have to pay for it, man, but I hope they wind up doing it. Derek says, after seeing Paolo in person, is there improvement? I mean, we've seen him in layup lines, you know what I mean? And like shooting drills and stuff like that. He's a skilled player. Like he's 7'1", and he can dribble. He's very athletic, and he can knock down jump shots. For him, I think it's more about getting physically stronger and getting in the weight room. And to be honest with you, no, I haven't seen a whole lot of a change there in his body to the naked eye. Does that mean he hasn't gotten stronger? No, not necessarily, but he hasn't put on a ton of weight. And the other stuff, it's just like he needs experience playing the game and understanding schemes and how to be a team defender and making reads and everything like that. So we're not really going to know. Here's what I'll say about Paolo. I'd like to have him back because I just think there are very few people that possess the physical traits that he has. But I wouldn't be banking on him to be a big contributor next year. I think Arkansas needs to go out and get their 3 or 4 bigs or whatever, and then he's your next line of defense. And maybe he plays the amount that Isaiah Sealy played this year, maybe not even that much, but I would bring Paolo back. He would not impact my plans for the roster that I'm trying to build going into next year.
He also, by the way, wasn't really healthy for most of the season. I mean, he was in that arm sling for a solid 2 months of the season. I don't know how much he practiced. Even the other day, he really only got in there for a little bit in some sweats. And so I don't think anybody should be holding their breath thinking like, oh, he's about to like take that step and be the 6th man for Arkansas. I think you should just kind of wait and see how that plays out.
For sure. We got the Malik Ewan Hate Club coming up. Kingsley says, I wish I agreed with y'all about 12 coming back. And then Anthony Black Fan Club says, shocked y'all want Ewan back. Very soft, doesn't really guard. Throws his hands up begging for a foul after every miss. Just doesn't play hard. Did you watch him defend tonight?
Yeah, I think we watched 3. I mean, he played 3 games in the NCAA tournament. I thought Malik Ewan was good in the NCAA tournament. I thought he was decent tonight, like solid. He was far from Arkansas's worst player. He wasn't great in this game or anything, but perfectly playable, solid big man in a Sweet 16 game. And he played his best basketball for Arkansas down the stretch. Why would you not want him back? And listen, it's possible that you can go out there and get a better big man than him in the portal. You can get a better 4-man. You can get all these things. But, like, I don't know why for a front court that we all agree needs to be the emphasis this offseason, why you would want to add to that when the odds that you get a better, more experienced, more productive big is probably, you know what I mean? Like, that's going to be tough. Like, you can go out and get maybe 1. Are you going to get 2? Because, I mean, they don't have a 4 or a 5 if you don't get Malik Ewan back.
That's my exact point in all this. That's why I prefaced it when we were talking about him earlier. I would welcome Malik Ewan back in a heartbeat, but I'm not going into next year thinking he's my guy.
Right.
Like I said,
that's what we said at the top.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to go get a monster. You got to go get the dude in there. But having him as your second option, you could do a hell of a lot worse. He's one of the best offensive rebounders in the country. But to your point, if just being honest here, folks, if we want Arkansas to go out and get just an absolute monster, one of these dominant bigs, one of the best bigs in the whoever enters the transfer portal, fine, that's great. But if you think that you're going to be able to go get 2 dudes like that, you're just not.
No,
they're not going to be able to do it. Those guys aren't going to want to play with each other. They're not going to be able to afford it. And so I just assume you go out and get an absolute stud, and then you have somebody who's going to be in his second year in the program. You know what you're going to be able to get, and somebody who's shown a lot for you. Maybe he can continue to take a step forward, but you can do a hell of a lot worse than Malik Ewan as your backup big.
He averaged a double-double in the NCAA tournament. Is he a great, perfect player? Is he this super tough physical guy?
No.
Not necessarily, but like the idea that like he wouldn't be a take on next year's roster is kind of insane to me.
Rebuilding an entire front court, it's like going in the portal and rebuilding an offensive line. Like it's you can get some really talented players, but you don't know how it's going to work, how it's going to mesh.
I just don't know why you'd want to give yourself more work to do in the portal. I
think there's a skill set with the type of role that he would play if they went out and got a real dude that could help you. And I saw enough from him to where like him and Pringle playing together, I thought it actually looked pretty damn good in this game.
The thing. You could go get a very physical 5-man and play Malik Ewan with him
You
because
could.
he is good offensively.
And that's the other thing about this is you're going to have to pay for a starting 5 and you're going to have to pay for a starting 4 because Trevor Brazil's out of here. So what are you thinking you're going to get with a third big man? That is why. So if we didn't explain it well enough the first time, that's on us. But I'm not saying, hey, bring Malik Ewan back. He needs to be your starter next year. He's done so great. No. But I think he could be on this team, and I think there could be a role for him. But there's obviously still work to do in the front.
Sorry, real quick. I just want a real quick rant on this, folks. You're not here if it's not for Malik Ewan. You don't beat Hawaii. You don't beat High Point. You don't win those games without Malik Ewan. I understand that you're like, well, let's go get somebody better. Okay, fine. But it's not just something you go plug and play and they're just out there. Okay, you're not here without Trevin Brazil. You're not in the. You don't have the season you had without those guys. So stop complaining about every single one of them. It gets so annoying how if a guy's not perfect at every stretch, it's like it's trash. Malik Ewan, you lose first round. He had to do it without Nick Pringle. You lose without him. You're not in the Sweet 16. You're not in San Jose without Malik Ewan. Pure and simple. So you got to stop having that attitude.
I think all three of us at some point in this show now have gotten frustrated with it.
I get so
listen,
annoyed by
the idea that he wouldn't be a take on the roster. Like, how the hell does I don't know. I can't believe that we're the ones that are like, you don't see our vision.
It's just, but I just saying that not just for Malik Ewan, but like for Trevor Brazil, for any of these people that are that people are just like, this guy sucks. Guys, you had an incredible year. Was it what everything you want to know is the best year ever? No. But to act like that these guys that were just complete bums that gave you nothing is just false. It's just an absolute falsehood. You don't win half of the games that you had this year without Trevor Brazil and without Malik Ewan. Pure and simple. That's it. Bottom line.
That's 100% true. And I do just want to throw this out there real quick because a lot of people will do things like, you got to get Somto. You got to get Somto Surreal. You know who didn't average a double-double in the NCAA tournament? Somto Surreal. In fact, in the game against SLU, they got beat by 55. He played 12 minutes, and he had 0 points, and he had 1 rebound, and he didn't block a shot.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys totally wouldn't hate him if he came and played at Arkansas.
I mean, I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying.
Go get someone physical.
Sorry.
Y'all had one in Nick Pringle. You hated him too.
Listen, I just don't think this is the time to dislike for fans to do this to players on this team. Like, sorry, it sucks. And I know I'm not trying to hate on all fans. You can have your opinion. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I feel a little different because I just got out of that locker room and you see, and it just sucks, man. Yeah, it just sucks.
Okay.
But what's funny about this whole thing,
this is a therapy session for everyone listening and chatting and us.
Yeah.
What's going to be funny is whenever Ewan's waiver gets denied and it's a complete moot point.
Also true.
Yeah.
Also true. Shep Early says a disappointing way for the season to end. Play awful defensively and go cold from 3. We also lost our composure towards the end. Leaves a sour taste after the great season we had. And it does. I think you'll wake up probably tomorrow and it won't be as bad. But all those things are true, man. Like they went cold from 3. They were 5 of 23. They probably need to hit at least twice as many as that to be real competitive in this game. We didn't sugarcoat the defense at the beginning of the show. It was god awful. It was really bad, and it makes me mad because I've defended this team defensively throughout the course of the year because whereas they've really struggled with their interior defense and the paint, they have done some things really, really well on that end of the floor. They did nothing well on defense in this game, and that's why we see all the tweets that have come out. Like, that was the most points John Calipari team's ever given up in the tournament, the biggest loss he's ever taken in a tournament. Arizona shot 65%. It's like, good Lord, man. Like, nothing went right on the defensive end of the floor in this game. That was frustrating because you knew you had at least had to provide some resistance. Hell, Arizona could have played really well and shot 52% from the field, and what a difference that would have made. But they had like a historic performance, and so yes, that is very frustrating and disappointing, and it does. It leaves a sour taste in my mouth tonight, but like we said at the top, man, it's not going to put a stain on the entire season. It's just going to make us irritated right now. It's a little bit harder to appreciate the big picture right now after what just happened because they got a pretty thorough butt kicking, man. Jay Rice says, nice season, guys. Hated it had to end this way. Woo pig.
Yeah. Appreciate you, man.
Somebody said earlier that they would have rather had the season end the way that it did tonight instead of the way that it did last year. What do you guys think about that?
Yes.
I like the way that it ended. I don't like the way that it ended tonight. I preferred over last year because you look at last year's game and there's all these moments you can point to and, oh, could have done this. This one, it really is. I mean, you just beat a team. You ran into a team that beat you and they were better than you. That's a little bit easier to swallow, even though it is tough.
Well, last year I had a tweet ready to hit send that says the Hogs are going to the Elite Eight. Not one time tonight that I even consider putting that tweet out. So, yes.
Never led.
Nope. Never. I mean, even if you could have, man, they could have started at -10 and you would have never led the whole time, man.
That was tough, man. That was tough. Yeah, because I felt like last year's loss definitely lingered a hell of a lot longer than this one is.
Oh, yeah.
Like we'll be over this one in a couple days, but I mean the rest of the tournament we were.
Y'all remember Texas Tech got up big on Florida in their game, and we're on the way back. We had to drive back from Dallas to Fayetteville after we flew in, and we were listening to that game, and we were frustrated then because we were like, oh my God, we could have been in that spot, and we're not gonna have any of that. We're not gonna watch Arizona play Purdue and be like, oh man, should have been us.
Mike says, thank you guys, a 70-year-old Razorback fan from upstate New York. Great season for our Hogs. Curtis, looking forward to your portal coverage, and Andrew, your Diamond Hogs work. Can't forget John. Keep up the great coverage, guys.
We appreciate you, Mike. That's awesome, man. And we will definitely be bringing you the Diamond Hogs work.
Mike was definitely hoping for the Razorbacks to be back in Buffalo. It's in upstate New York. So.
Great. Yeah, I'm sure they'll be here 2 years.
Someone's son says if we hit even a quarter of our three-point attempts this game, it's probably a little different. Not upset with the effort, just the result.
I mean, think about it. Arkansas was down 11 at half, and they were 2 of 12 at that point from 3. They finished 5 of 23.
Yeah.
2 of 12. If you're just 5 for 13, that would be about 38%. That's about what you average for the year. If you're 5 for 13 instead of 2 for 12, you're down by like 2 or 3. You're right there in it.
I love how at half, the last 4 minutes of the first half, I think it was 13 points, and then we were like, man, if they could just get in the single digits by the break, we're feeling pretty good about things. Well, that didn't happen. You're down 11, whatever. And then we were sitting there beside each other and was like, man, the first 4 minutes of the second half is going to be huge. They can put some game pressure on them, cut this thing to 6 or 7, and then it's game on. And then Arizona comes out and they made 5 straight buckets.
Yeah.
5 straight buckets right out of the
10
half.
of 13 in the second half.
And it's just like, so it's not going to get any better. Like whatever adjustments were or weren't made, it didn't matter, man. Arizona just came out there and put it right back on them. And that is the most frustrating part for me is that Arkansas never pushed them, never even gave them a chance to fold or start to feel any pressure whatsoever in the game. They just kind of got their butts kicked, man. It stinks. The Bionic Pig. Yes, those 3 guys. We've talked about them a lot here tonight. Looking forward to get them in here and seeing what it's all about. And it's like we talked about earlier, man. It's crazy because now Darius Acuff has set such a high bar for the freshmen that are going to be coming in here. And you might wind up being disappointed if that's your standard. But I will tell you, man, when it comes to a winner and competitive nature and being a dog on the defensive end of the floor who's not going to be afraid to mix it up in there at all, you guys are going to love Jordan Smith Jr. Yeah. He is the man. He's been one of my favorite players of all time to watch on the EYBL and throughout his high school career. This dude is built different. He might not score 25 points a game, but his impact on winning is unparalleled to anybody in that class. You guys are going to love him. We know how much J.J. Andrews is going to how it's going to feel for him to wear that Razorback across his chest. There's
how hard he's going to play,
2-time Peach Jam winner. This guy's got a lot of accolades. And Abitore, the one that nobody's talking about, man. She's been the sneaky stock riser the entire year. It's a really, really good trio. I'm anxious to see what the team looks like that they build around them.
3 absolute canines who play with a little bit of that edge.
Mason says, thank you for an amazing year. The best player ever suited up. Listen to you guys every day. I love Cal's recruiting class, and the Hog is strong.
Heck yeah, man.
Love
we appreciate Mason, you, man.
We appreciate that.
I saw Mason in the chat fighting the good fight.
Good.
Being like, hey, guys, this isn't the worst team we've ever seen.
No, it's not. It is definitely not. Tamara says, thank you, Curtis and Andrew, for the great coverage all year long. It's not just this season. Got out of your way to bring the best content every single day. I wish we would have won for Acuff's sake. Yeah, that's another disappointing aspect of it, man. When you have a player like that, it's just everybody was talking as we got down the stretch of the season, like, could he do the Kimball Walker thing? Could he do the Kimball Walker thing? And then they went and won the SEC tournament the way that he did. And then he had the game against High Point like he did, where he just kind of put the team on his back, and he was like, nah, not tonight. And so you just kind of felt like, damn, man, why not? Why wouldn't he have another one in him? And, he wound up with 28 or 29 points, whatever, tonight. But A lot of credit's got to go to Arizona too, man. They were as good as they were on the offensive end. They were maybe better defensively because they just made you work for every single thing you got. That's a good team, and I hate this when it happens to Arkansas, but they might have just run into the national champion. Like they might have legitimately run into that buzzsaw again. I don't see Purdue keeping up with them either on Saturday. I don't know if that's going to make anybody feel any better, but they might whoop Purdue's ass too.
Agreed. Real quick, I want to focus on this, what she says here. It's not just the season. You go out of your way to bring the best content every single day. So this is the time that I have to give Curtis Wilkerson his flowers. And it's kind of a weird time to do it because, again, it's the end of the season, but it's not like Curtis is about to go hide away in a hole here. He's going to be hitting the ground running every single day during the off season, doing his thing. Hopefully we'll sneak in a little bit of family time and a vacation for you, man. But I really hope that the Razorback fan base appreciates the grind that you put in for this program, this team, and for this company inside Arkansas, of course. But we're appreciative that you let us just kick it with you on basketball. I've been pleased to be on these post games with you all year, doing the SEC show, man. And I always feel bad whenever sometimes I feel bad contributing to basketball coverage because I'm like, Curtis has the standards so high. I almost feel disrespectful joining in sometimes. But on a serious note, man, you've crushed it this season. And I know there are so many people. I mean, we hear it all the time, people that appreciate the work you do. And I know you get your flowers from those guys, but I hope everyone listening right now, and to the over 600 of you who are still watching live at whatever it is, 1:32 in the morning in Central Time, I know you guys understand what Curtis brings to the table. I just hope you guys don't take that for granted. And like I said, it doesn't end when the season ends. He's going to continue to giving his all to this program, and that's what it deserves.
Well, I appreciate that. That's very kind words, very nice of you, and appreciate everybody out there who's been rocking with us all season long. It's crazy because we were so thrilled with the way the Pot at the Palace went last year, and the viewership was awesome. And I was wondering, is it just going to kind of stagnate out or whatever? And it just keeps going up and up and up, and that's really cool. Don't ever feel like you're disrespectful for helping out. I couldn't have done this without you guys. I mean, what makes this show, I think, so great, and especially these lives and the post games and everything that we do. I think we've got great chemistry when we do this, man. I love being able to bounce things off of you, and hell, you're doing baseball and pulling double duty and always making yourself available for this. The SEC show, I think, is going to be something that's going to be really cool, and I appreciate everything that you bring to the table from that standpoint. And then John, every single video that we've played throughout the course of the season, he's gone and done that. So when he's behind the scenes, we're starting the show. We can't be at the press conferences. We can't do those things. He's getting us all of those clips. All this, the setup, all the equipment we have, that's all John. Makes this thing look good, sound good. That's all John. Going into the locker room after the losses and talking to those guys and getting those videos up and everything, that's all John, man. So we're one big team here, and it's been a hell of a ride. I look forward to this every single year, man, when we get to go on these trips. And that's why I think I get a little bit defensive when I hear, some of the people who are they're just frustrated because it ended tonight. But the complaining about everything, it's like, man, this has been like two of the best weeks I've had in so long. This is awesome. We're really fortunate to be able to do it and to be able to have a basketball program that gives us the ability to have these experiences and share them with everybody. We had the 1 year there under Muss where they didn't get it, and guess what? That sucked, and I don't want to live that life anymore. So appreciate everybody for tuning into the pod. It's been a lot of fun. We're going to kill it with the portal coverage. I will say we're going to take a few days when we get back home, though, because I missed the kiddo, and it's been way too long. I'm going to be excited to get back and see him. And as relevant things happen, we'll be running the show and everything. But once that portal opens back up, we're going to be back at it on the daily, and looking forward to that for sure.
We've got just a handful of super chats left here, but I wanted to pull this one up because it ties in perfectly with what we were just talking about. Jeff Geoff says, am I getting spoiled? The second weekend exits are getting a little old. Second weekends are never to be expected, but we've been here a lot lately. This is a perfect time for me to say I do not agree with this whatsoever. I understand that need for wanting more. I understand that desire to go further, and that exists with all three of us as well and everyone inside that program. This is not getting old for me. Like you just said, we look forward to this every single year. Do we want them to go further? 1,000%. Will we ever be truly satisfied until Arkansas gets back on that Final Four stage and competes for another national championship? Probably not. But I can't necessarily relate to the mindset of like feeling like this season is like an empty feeling, or not feeling like this was an absolute blast and not being happy to be here, man. This was just another awesome chapter that we've gotten to write with this basketball team and for us as a trio.
Okay, where are we? The official Oh, by the way, I want you guys to know, I took a leak beside Draymond Green tonight.
Did he go into the bathroom right after?
Walked in right behind me.
Dude, because when you walked up, you were just like, that's Draymond Green. I took a quick video of him because I was like, that's Draymond Green. He walked right into the pisser after that?
Yep.
It's awesome.
Him and his whole crew. They were talking about Acuff, too, by the way.
Yeah, I bet that's why he was here, because, two Michigan guys.
Yep.
He ran into my charger on the table because he was right in front of me and he ran into it.
He's a clumsy old guy.
Yeah, about to say, I was like, listen, man, you want to square up? Let's go. But yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, man. The official Dre says, thanks for all the coverage. You guys made this team feel so much more personal than any team I've watched. We hit threes, we win that game. Yeah, if you hit 18 of them, you might have won that game. But no, thank you. We appreciate that. Appreciate the support for sure. I like this from Hogs by 94. He says, I have to point out the problem with our front court. Next year, Cal needs to. Just kidding, Curtis. Thank you guys for all the coverage.
Almost triggered me.
Washburn Idol's in here. Appreciate Washburn Idol. Says, enjoyed the shows all season, fellas. Never usually chat, but you are good people, and it's been a good time.
Well, I don't say you never usually chat when you've given us like a half a rack in super chats over the last recently. Yeah, no recently, but man, we appreciate you for sure, man.
Washburn Idol's goated at this point for
sure.
Quinn says Arizona's just a wagon. I think y'all reached your ceiling with what your roster was. Tough way for y'all to end it, but a good season. Thanks, Quinn.
Hey, now Quinn did something very nice that we're going to get to in just a second. So I don't
matter.
So I'm not going to make fun of him.
I am. Enjoy the NIT championship, buddy. Just kidding, man. Wait, they won the other day, right?
They won the quarterfinal. I think they're in the semis now.
Washburn Idol says, knowing Bill, yes.
He called him a band. He hit him with the band hammer.
Bill, and here's the thing about it is he said what he said like it was like he was gonna keep saying it until somebody heard him. I'm like, dude, and like a bunch of the guys on the staff were like, yo. At first, I thought he was talking to one of his own coaches.
Me too.
Because of the little huddle around there, I was like, what is going on? But then I realized exactly who he was talking to. I was like, oh man, so crazy stuff. There's Quinn. He says some money for your way back home. Get back safe. Hope y'all enjoyed your time traveling. Excited for the baseball series with y'all, Andrew. When is that? The
next weekend? So yeah, Arkansas will play Florida this week, and then they're headed on the road to play Auburn. That's going to be a dogfight, man. Arkansas is going to have to play really well. Auburn's got a really good pitching staff. Top 10 matchup. Going to be a lot of fun, and I hope to see Quinn in Omaha this year. I hope we can go there together. I hope Arkansas is in Omaha, frankly.
Yeah, that would also be nice.
I'm not just going if Auburn makes it. We got to both make it, but I hope we do.
Oh man, appreciate you, Quinn. Trip says that was a really good season. Definitely excited for next year. We're gonna miss these guys. They were special.
Agreed on all fronts, man.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Captain Solo, that's big time right there. Thank you, Captain Solo. Arizona outplayed us tonight. The refs were insert your own your word there. What a ride from this very special team. Wanted it crazy bad for all of them. Enjoyed every minute with you guys. No one does it better than John, Curtis, and Andrew. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
we appreciate you for everything, always. Very, very
Captain
cool.
Solo,
Absolutely.
One of our few listeners tonight that is not listening to us in the middle of the night because it's like 9 o'clock where he's at.
We were very we're kind of hoping that maybe they'd make it down to Portland,
Oh, yeah.
Still a long trip, though. Very long trip. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate you. Not Bill. Says Cal is feeding no one's monster. Arkansas is on the up.
Not downhill Bill.
Not downhill Bill. Just Bill. Just Bill. Miss Dansvan's back. Says thank you boys for such great coverage. Really helps to be able to process with y'all. Great season. Woo pig. Thank you. Thank you. Well,
Mrs. Dansvan, I hope that your journey had a positive end and that you didn't get too worked up during the game tonight. I'm sure you were fired up and ready to watch your Razorbacks, and it was awesome to meet you in Portland, and we appreciate you.
Yes. Big Dog Crab says so many people complain about officiating. Unbiased Brim says I'm talking to Cal like Larry Johnson to Coach Richardson. Get you some men down low. Would you that? You like that? We win the SEC next year. Defensive beastie next year. Yeah. We agree.
Just broken.
Oh my God, that killed me. Yeah, but I do agree. I do agree. Unbiased Brim. And hey, maybe next year when we're on our Final Four run, which will conclude in Detroit, maybe we'll get to see you up in the Northeast.
All right, boys, we did it. Any final thoughts before we get out of here? We kind of did that, and then we went back into the chats.
Yeah, I know. I kind of jumped the gun on the give Curtis his flowers thing, didn't I? But I know it's late, and so I meant to bring it up literally like an hour ago. But I wanted to get in before everybody got out of here. But no, seriously, my final thought is seriously just appreciative of all the people who support us and got us here, and the people who love the Arkansas Razorbacks, man. It's a proud damn state, as they say, and we wouldn't be able to do what we do without people being passionate about the Razorbacks. And I'm sure we help y'all with that. You help us with that, and we've got a really good thing going here, not only with Inside Arkansas, but with all of you guys. And it's really cool to feel like we're representing you whenever we're out here. And even on nights like tonight that suck and it's a tough pill to swallow, it's always cool to be able to have people to kind of process it with. And I'm glad I have you guys for that and the rest of our fans. And let's keep this thing rolling, man.
Yeah, I mean, my final thought is that, it's so appreciative of everybody, appreciative of our sponsors and our partners and all the people that tap in with this, because, it's like when kind of thought about doing all of this, like these are the moments, these are the trips that was going to make it the most fun, and getting to interact with you, getting to meet fans that we don't normally get to meet and do it in person. And, this is what's the most fun about it. I couldn't imagine going and not being in the NCAA tournament and not being in the Sweet 16. How horrible that would be. I had to talk about, spring football at this point in time, but this is what it was all about. And, again, we wish that we were staying here for longer. We wish we were going to Indianapolis, but we have no control over that. The only thing we can control is the discussion and the talk and the content. And, and of course, I said it last year and I'll say it again this year and kind of echo what Andrew says. Like, the reason Curtis is the best in the business is because of his passion, because of the way that he approaches it and his mindset of everything. And it's just like, and I would not want to do this and what we're doing without Curtis and without Andrew. And this trip has been awesome. And it's like, again, I can't wait to do it again next year. This is just one of another many years to come of what we're doing in Inside Arkansas, but really appreciate everybody. Appreciate you, Curtis, and all the work that you put in. Because one thing I never have to worry about you is doing a great job, and that's easy. So thank you both. I've loved this trip. Hate it's ending, but I'm kind of ready to get back home. And also thank you to your wife, Michelle, and your fiance, Hillary, because I know that they're missing you guys too. And shout out to them for allowing you guys to do this too. So it's going to be a lot of fun to get back home, but it's been a fun trip.
We are family. Anyway, man, I have a crazy story to share with y'all when we get out of here. Yes, I'm doing that to everybody, but I know you're seeing what's going on right in front of us.
I've been looking at it for a while, man.
It'll be good.
Anyway, final chat here. Phil came in a little bit late. We appreciate you, though. He says, pimp limping this turkey strut. We're all pimp limping a little bit after that one, man. He says, Woo Pig Suey, great year. Thanks for covering it so well. And yes, appreciate all you guys. Echo everything that these fellas said. And I kind of gave my final thoughts and everything a little bit earlier. Looking forward to portal season, seeing how this roster gets built out. We're going to be covering it at a high level. Make sure that you tune in tomorrow, as always, for Inside Arkansas Live. We're going to give you guys an in-depth, full-on breakdown of spring football practice for your Arkansas Razorbacks.
Balls deep in boredom already.
I'm just kidding. Well, I don't think we're going to talk about that at all. But tune in with us. Appreciate everybody for coming along for the ride. And the journey is just getting started for the Razorbacks. And it's just getting started here for us at Inside Arkansas. So for John Neighbors and Andrew Ellis and intern Gigi and intern Cameron, I'm Curtis Wilkerson. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. Wake up in better spirits tomorrow if you can. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.